updates with regard to the state funeral. As you may be aware, the President of the Republic of Zambia, through Cabinet and the Secretary to the Cabinet, had pronounced 7 days of national mourning of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So which run from, I can't remember the exact date, but today was the final day of national mourning that was announced by President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND government. So today, the 14th of June 2025, was supposed to be the final day of national mourning. But as you may be aware, the day closed off without the body of the late president being in the country. As a result, the direction towards whether the country continues in national mourning or something had changed. People were asking questions about it, but no direction came with regard to that. And as things stand, the Secretary to the Cabinet has made an update, and I'll just give you the details. But these are some of the news headlines that have been dominating the newspaper. So in the Daily Nation say, no Hakainde Hichilema, no state funerals. They are attributing that statement to the Republican Vice President, Mutaenda Lumango, who was addressing Material Member of Parliament, Maus Sampa, when he had asked a question in Parliament. I'm sure you've seen the clip by now. But and then earlier on, the Republican president also went and signed a book of condolence at the Belvedere Lodge, at the official mourning location updated by government. And then he also had a meeting. Zimbabwe had sent in an envoy. The Republican vice president came to meet President Hakainde Hichilema. And what I understand is that President Emerson Mnangagwa is the SADC chairperson at the moment, so he probably came to represent SADC in that meeting. And it's in this meeting that President Hakainde Hichilema assured the country and the rest of Africa and the world to say the body of our late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu was not going to be buried anywhere else apart from Zambia. And then government was working behind the scenes to rectify the situation between the family and government to come to an agreement. So most people are expecting to get an update today, considering today was the final day of national mourning, the one that I didn't mention, the 7 days. But since the negotiations or the conversations between government and the family did not close by end of day, the Secretary to the Cabinet put up a post. I'll show you. But this post from President Hakainde Hichilema, which was posted on April 11, 2020, has been resurfacing, and pretty much it shows President Hakainde Hichilema at his farm, and you can see his cows and bulls behind him there. And then he put up a post to say, this is President Hakainde Hichilema says, I was asked, Hakainde Hichilema, do you have beef with Mr. Lungu, referring to the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu? And then I replied, of course, I am a Kachema. I always have beef. And then you can see the beef he's referring to is the cows in the back there. And then jokes aside, he says, jokes aside, we do not harbor any hatred towards anyone. And we will never will. We feel this way, even with all the acts of injustice and brutality that have been committed against us. If it were up to us, we would have the dialogue with Mr. Lungu and the Patriotic Front a long time ago. Have a blessed Easter weekend, Hakainde Hichilema. So he signs off. So it's that post that is resurfacing, saying the president has never, then the opposition leader, had never harbored hatred towards Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So it's resurfacing now because it looks, it vindicates him pretty much. Like the statements that he's been making recently, like it aligns with the ones that he made on April 11th, 2020. And then obviously people started asking to say, will government guide us on the way forward regards national mourning, since today marks the end of the 7-day national mourning. So as you may be aware, that dominated the conversation in the nation, like, hey, it's a final day. We're not getting any statements from the family, no statements coming from government either. So people are in limbo, and then we're wondering, should we go back to our lives and do our activity? Another person there, Mashaka Yakashamba, was like, even tagged President Hakainde Hichilema. President Hakainde Hichilema, please allow the nation to resume normal business until we hear from them, referring to the Edgar Lungu family there. And then he says, thank you there. And then obviously people lit up the comment section. So pretty much people are curious to know what happens next. Are we still in national mourning? Has anything changed? And that's what people are having a conversation over. And then finally, the Law Association of Zambia equally put up a statement, pretty much some highlights from those statements, which was posted by Emmanuel Mwamba, says, a family remain a critical stakeholder to this conversation between government and the Edgar Lungu family on whether his body will be coming in the country at what date. And then the family must consider the state to accord the necessary protocol befitting the former head of state, and then permit the president to superintend over the funeral. So obviously, Laos was advising the Lungu family to say, might as well allow the sitting head of state, which is President Hakainde Hichilema, to superintend over it, because once other heads of state start coming to the funeral, no one else can be their host, which is the same point KBF had made, to say there's no other person that can do it apart from President Hakainde Hichilema. He's the head of state. And then they say a new law is required to define and govern state funerals. And that's one thing people have been asking about and conversating on, to say we cannot be always in limbo with regard to this. So we need to redefine what happens after we lose either a significant person and it's attributed as a state funeral. What protocols are supposed to be followed? They should be clear cut and not just left on hearsay. Then later on in the evening, when this started circulating, a statement that came from government, I saw this around 19 to 20 thereabout. So this came from Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Chagwa. So a statement, Saturday, 14th June 2025. Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Chagwa, has advised that the nation will be updated shortly on the ongoing funeral arrangements relating to the funeral of the late President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa, as the family and government consultative process has reached advanced stages. The Secretary to the Cabinet has further called for calm as arrangements are being finalized. So it's that statement that now people are like, oh, finally, it seems like they've come to an agreement. They didn't put any details to what will happen. But later on, I'll show you what Ministry of Information posted after that. So that statement came through to say the talking stage between government and the Lungu family had reached an advanced stage, and pretty much the nation will be guided whether we continue with national mourning or anything will change. So that's what we await. And then Sean Tembo was like, if you never condemned the government for preventing Edgar Chagwa from traveling abroad, to seek medical attention, then just shut up. So obviously, and then he doubles down. This is still Sean Tembo. He says, it simply means that you do not have a moral pedestal to stand on or comment on Edgar Chagwa funeral arrangements. And it does not matter whether you are a church leader, traditional leader, or government official, or whatever you wish to call yourself. Just shut up, because you are morally bankrupt. Anyway, Tiditonse, and the future is Sean E. Tembo. He writes it off. So this one was simply directed at Paramount Chief Mpezeni. He's the only chief that has issued a statement with regard to this funeral. So that's a statement in response to that from Sean Tembo. And then this is what the Ministry of Information and Media says. There will be a live joint press briefing tomorrow, 15th June 2025 at 10 hours relating to the funeral arrangements for the late former head of state, Dr. Edgar Chagwa. So apart from that area publication that came from Secretary to the Cabinet saying the talks had reached an advanced stage, so now they've decided to say that the press brief that will be given to the nation will be both parties, the family and government, so that we don't have two press briefings. And that's a great idea. You can see that it's one voice that is speaking, so that we don't have two conflicting statements that will be issued the same day. So they've said it's going to be a joint statement, and we'll wait and see the details. But before we could even get the details, Emmanuel Mwamba seems to have preview access to what is going to happen in as much as is in the USA. I put up details, and obviously the news site circulating, and then Movie TV was just like, let it be at 10 hours, not 11:50. Abash Zambian time syndrome. So just saying, if you say the meeting is going to be at 10 hours, let it happen at that time. and not this thing of making the entire nation wait in past time that was earlier announced. And then that's a bombshell that Emmanuel posted like just 46 minutes ago. And this is just like almost, it's now even midnight actually. So it says, state and family negotiate and settle all matters. Remains arrive on Wednesday, 18th June 2025, and entered on Monday, 23rd June 2025. Well done. So he put the Emmanuel Mwamba was the first person to put up this date to say. So the presidential body, the president's body will be expected in the country on Wednesday, 18th June 2025, and then entered on Monday, 23rd June 2025, and then once Emmanuel Mwamba put up those dates, pretty much most media houses ran with it. The Patriotic Front also reposted the same thing. The state and family agree on outstanding issues. Body arrives on Wednesday, 18th June 2025, and burial is on Monday, 23rd June. So just details that are supposed to be pronounced by government to be given, whether we still continue with the national mourning until then, until 23rd June, or if anything changes, will be updated tomorrow during that joint press briefing. But as things stand, government and the Lungu family have come to an agreement, and the body will be coming to Zambia in a couple of days. Today is Sunday, so on Wednesday, the body will be in the country, according to that news update. Mao Sampo also picked up the same news. It says, I can only congratulate those from both sides that were involved in the discussions today and finally managed to reach a consensus and agreement. So pretty much uploading the agreement that has happened between government and the Lungu family, saying whoever was involved during this negotiation should be credited and congratulated because it was like an impasse for a number of days. What is on the other hand here in Lusaka, Zambia, and in Ndola, the Patriotic Front, so we're holding a memorial in Ndola earlier on that you can see given Luvinda, Raphael Nakashinda, and a number of Patriotic people, Patriotic Front people at the airport. So this was posted some hours ago. So Patriotic Front Vice President Given Luvinda and PF Secretary General Honorable Raphael Nakashinda lead delegation and senior party officials and members of the Central Committee to Ndola to attend a memorial service in honor of the late Zambia's 6th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa, organized by Patriotic Front Commonwealth provincial leadership. So the memorial service will take place at the party secretariat in Ndola. So that happened there, the service remembering ECL. And then obviously the news item of, you can see the Secretary to the Cabinet above there, pretty much reiterating the news that say government and ECL family have come to an agreement. And these were images when given that Patriotic Front people were going to Ndola for that memorial service. And these are all images from Ndola area on. And that's where the service was taking place. It was all green in Ndola at their secretariat. Yeah, some more images from that interaction earlier on. So as things stand, we'll be expecting the body on those dates mentioned by Emmanuel Mwamba and reposted by a number of people close to the people that are negotiating in, or that were negotiating in South Africa. And then the mass newspaper saying, Hakainde Ichilema missed an opportunity to apologize and make amendments for Lungu, for Edgar Chagwa mistreatment, frustrated member statement there. But at this point, it's of no use. They've already come to an agreement. Let's say Edgar Lungu fought for Zambia's to benefit from mine wealth. That's in the Money Daily. It's another newspaper. Real Time says it's treason. Vice President attempting to pretty much that statement to say having a state funeral without head of state. So yeah, as things stand, those are the dates that have been thrown on, and we just wait for the details. Because if you remember, the Patriotic Front, through the family, had requested to say Edgar Lungu's body should first go to Ndola. I think it was because that's where he was born, or something, or the church that he used to pray for him, and then also, for the church that he was that was praying for him the past 6 months. and then to be taken to Petauke because that's his homeland, and then it can be brought back to Lusaka. So all those details will be given during that press brief that is likely to take place in just a number of hours now, because right now this is 24:14. So just in a couple of hours, we expect a joint meeting from the family and government. And that's why we're going to get the exact details, what happens next. Do we continue with the state funeral? And everything will be communicated, I'm pretty sure. So as things stand, the body of the late president will be coming to Zambia. That's the news, ladies and gentlemen.